YouTube, how's everybody doing? We're back. For today's video, I'm going to be changing out 10 gallons out of my 45-gallon tank. So we'll go through that whole process. We'll go ahead and add the water back. Right in the end, we'll give a little bit of food, but right now, so a couple of changes I did do just to kind of help out with the clarity of the water. That I've been kind of testing it just to kind of show, if we've been it was getting a little cloudy, and I think it was because last time I was messing with the gravel.
You what?
Alright, so in this portion, when you hear me say gravel, I say it multiple times, and I also say thermometer. I meant to say a water heater and the sand bed. So whenever you hear that, just kind of assume that's what I meant.
But also to kind of put into it is I had the backside of the all-in-one, like where the filtration system is at. I had it pretty high. So we'll also change these. We'll change out the filter pads right here, or filters, which I started using these ones. But I lowered it down. So I used to have it higher. This used to be the old line where I used to kind of have it at. And then I lowered it down. Hopefully that kind of helps out so that everything can get filtered in, and that's why the pads are like really dirty. So we'll get those thrown away and then get some new one in there. But besides that, we're gonna go ahead and then just get started. So I'll go ahead and get everything set up, and then we'll kind of go from there. All right, so the just to get started with the water change, couple things that you need to make sure that you do. Obviously, if you forget, it's not the end of the world, but you do want to make sure that you fix it before you like before something really bad happens. And that's number one: turn off the return pump. You want to make sure that you know you're not messing up the water flow or anything like that. Right now, everything is off. The way I do it, I just turn lights, everything. I have a plug, and I click that plug off, and as soon as I'm done, I click it back on and everything turns on. So that's going to be the way I do it. The other part too is the the thermometer that's in the back. Want to make sure that you turn that off. If you look at it, it's back here for me. um, you want to make sure that like that doesn't burn through anything if the water levels get too low or anything like that. So it's very important. A couple things that I have been learning is in the backside right now it looks kind of full, but typically I keep this super low. So this little green thing is ATO return water. So if my water gets too low from the evaporation or anything like that, that helps me with making sure that it puts back RODI water into the tank. And all I really do is every day just check and make sure that the bucket that I have right there is, sufficient enough to make sure that, it's able to add in water so that that water level does not get too low. And then number two, that thermometer the thermometer does not get exposed outside of water. So I have the thermometer lower than I have the return sensor. But we're going to go ahead and get started. I have to, one, change 10 gallons of this water. Two, change the filter pads. They look disgusting right now. We'll get that new stuff replaced in, and then we'll just kind of go from there. I also am not going to be touching the sand bed today. So the goby likes to go in and likes to make holes all over the place. So a couple things I do not want to mess with the I don't want an ammonia spike or anything like that. I don't want anything to happen. So I think I'm going to be doing it like maybe once or twice a month. You know, I know a lot of things could happen. So I just want to make sure that everything is solid. Top of that is, he does go through and all day he's cleaning that stuff up as he's like kind of eating and filtering through the sand bed. And then the other part is, as you can see, there's a couple caves where, he's already kind of made home on top of my royal grandma is housed in this corner right here specifically. So I don't want to mess around and then kind of squish one or anything like that if I can. So the Royal Grandma has been coming out a lot more, but it definitely does feel secure in that little cave right there. So I'm just not going to mess with it. But we'll go ahead and get started. The way I do it, it's not perfect. And if you guys have any tips, please let me know. But I'm going to put this in the tank and then I'm going to go ahead and put I'm going to put this in here. And this is, can help with filtering out the sand and all that stuff and or gravel, whatever tank you're using. And then the back end is where the water is going to come out of. So I'm going to grab this right here, put that in here. Everybody hasn't ate yet either. Maybe I should have fed them before, but whatever. We'll get them food after this. All right, so we got the 10 gallons. We got the 10 gallons replaced. So I took out 10 gallons. I added back 10 gallons. Everything is doing good. Um, Before I get everything turned back on, a couple things that I'm going to do is number one, I'm going to get through some of the gunk that's in the back that's kind of sitting at the top of the water. And then number two is I got to make sure that I change out the filter. So these are the pads that I use. What I'm going to do is um, I'm going to grab a little bit of this stuff and then I'm going to cut it up and replace the old stuff. So if you come over here, what you'll see is right in here, I have two filter pads. Come on up here, mommy, put it right here. Show my audience how dirty it is. So this is just collecting all the gunk that's in the aquarium. And if you can look at the water right here, you'll see that there's a layer of some gunk. So I'm going to collect some of this stuff. I'm going to replace the two pads and then we'll just kind of go from there. So if you want to back up right there, appreciate it. I'm going to cut this open. This is a brand new pack. I got this from, this one is Filter First, Aquatic Experts. This is not a partner or anything like that. I got this from Greg over in Cleveland, Aquatic Gems. If you are ever in need of any supplies or anything like that and you're in the Cleveland area, feel free to stop by. If it's not buying it online, then I'm going to that shop specifically, just because I feel like the thing that Greg does best that not a lot of store owners do is he educates you and helps you through the process, and he's not just trying to like sell you something. It's like there's a lot of people who, yes, it is a business and you have to make some money. He did sell me some stuff, but he's also educating me on things that he uses, and who knows, maybe we both change up the filter pads that we use in the near future, if we end up seeing that there's something more beneficial. But this is what I'm going to use. So I'm going to take these out and then I'm going to cut up some of this so that we can use it. I did have filter, like real filter socks, and Greg is such a nice guy that he is helping me clean them so that they can reuse them at least until um, they don't work anymore. So I got an extra layer. What I'm going to do with this layer is, and I'm not sure if everybody does this, but a tip that I saw is I'm just going to kind of skim through the back middle socket where most of my stuff is at so that I can collect some of that junk, some of the gunk, and then any of the gunk that kind of went into the actual tank. I'm gonna collect that as well, just so that it's as clean as possible. You do not need to do this. Your filtration system will take care of itself. But this is something that I like to do because I want my tank to be as clean as possible. Um, right here, we're collecting as much as we can. And then in the back, like I said, I'm gonna grab some of this stuff. Make sure that this looks good. Any loose things, I'm gonna add that in here. It doesn't grab everything just because it's supposed to go through and in and absorb it, but it does somewhat of what I needed to do, which is okay. Got all of it. Throw that away. And the last part is number one, adding back in the filter pads. So I'm gonna just glue this, drop it down like this, and then have it go right down in. And that should fit perfectly. Squeeze it in, make sure it gets in there. Right there. And that'll collect everything in there. And I'm gonna do the same thing to the other side. And then once we're done with this, then it's just a matter of turning everything back on and letting it run. So I don't want to prolong this process too much. Put it in there. And we are good right there. One, two, three. Don't record. Remember, don't record the bottom part. I don't want to show that just yet. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn everything back on. You'll see, I think the lights will still turn on since it's around that time. But I'm going to just flip the switch. Lights are on. Water's flowing. And just I make sure my sensor has a light. I make sure that that's on. And then in a little bit, I'm going to make sure that the heater also turned on, which it looked like it did. Um, so now it's just letting the tank do its thing, doing its thing right now. I'm gonna grab some food. I'm gonna a little bonus clip show you me feeding the fish. So let me go in. I'm gonna grab this. I just cleaned the um, bottle that I use for them, and I'm gonna grab some nice shrimp. Like I said, any recommendations of alternatives of what I can give them, please let me know. Let me grab some of this. Gonna grab some of this water. It's okay because the backside of my tank is it's a little over than what I'd like it to be at. And then I'm gonna let this kind of loosen up. Quick tank update while we're in this process is quick tank update during this process is the clowns are doing really good. I can't wait so that they get bigger. I'm gonna wait for the tank um, to be. I'm gonna wait for a little while before I start, putting in an anemone or anything like that. I I read that you gotta wait at least like 6 months. I'm sure there's ways to, or you can probably do it sooner, but there's just higher chances of it not surviving with your tank not being mature or anything like that. So just trying to follow guidelines and what has found the best success rate. Um, on top of that, the Flame Angel, as you can tell, is definitely not shy whatsoever. Whatever's on these rocks, it likes to just kind of peck at it a little bit. Um, as you can tell, it knows the areas that it wants to be at, and it kind of just floats around there, and it makes sure that if someone's passing by, they know, hey, this is where I'm at right now. Get out of the way. Doesn't hurt anybody. I've kind of been looking at its mannerisms to make sure that it's not harming anybody, but just something that I've noticed. As you can tell, the Watchman Goby right now is out and active. It's seen a lot of gunk kind of traveling around, and it's putting in some work right now. It's working overtime. Like I said before, the Royal Grandma, it's a little, it's a timid fish anyways to begin with. So it found that cave. It lives in that cave. You know, when we're sometimes, observing from far away, we notice that it comes out and it's out and about. And then sometimes when we're nearby, it is just kind of hidden. But now that this thing has loosened up, I'm gonna go ahead and stir it and make sure that they're not in big chunks so that I can start feeding them. The shrimp and everybody else is doing really good. Got a hermit in there. Um, go ahead. My favorite part is, as you can tell, they know when it's feeding time. They start pecking at this stuff, and then I just start giving them a little bit of food. Everybody's gonna eat. You'll see the royal grandma's out right now. When I don't see it come out, I put food near his area so that they're not he doesn't go starved. I know he's able to eat other stuff that's in the tank, but I just want to make sure that he's well fed and make sure that they get enough food, so I don't put them in harm or anything like that. But I also don't want to spook them either, so just make sure that everybody eats enough. And well, the tank is doing really well. I'm gonna try to pump out one of these videos every week at minimum. And then I'm gonna try to be doing shorts in between the week, just because obviously I work a full-time job and try to do this. I try to do this in between all that stuff. So, but again, leave a like, subscribe, stay active in the comments, and give me as much feedback, tips, tricks of the trade. I've been really appreciating everything that you guys have been giving me. And again, I'm going to drop this in here, but if you are ever in the Cleveland area, make sure you stop by at the Cleveland Aquatic Gems over in Solon, Ohio. Greg is the shop owner. Super, super nice guy. Very, very helpful, and he's going to give you, as much information as you might request. But he also has a bunch of, quality fish. He's always constantly has, he has good quality fish in there. He always has supplies, filters, food, whatever you might need. He has it in there. And, definitely show him some love and let him know I sent you over there. But that being said, appreciate you guys.